I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft, and today's question comes from a young viewer who wants to know my thoughts on the phenomenon known as televised situational comedies, or more colloquially as sitcoms. Now, the whole phenomenon of television is one that I've had to become acquainted with during my reanimated existence. During my lifetime, of course, there was no television. I was around in the infancy of cinema, but that's a very different way of creating narratives and expressing oneself artistically. Television is its own beast, and sitcoms speak a certain language. They require a familiarity that I just simply did not possess, until I realized that they are indeed part of a rather ancient legacy. Many of the broad humors and stock characters of the situational comedy can be found in vaudeville, which is itself a descendant of that rather classical popular entertainment, the commedia dell'arte. And armed with that knowledge, I realized I could understand something about sitcoms and their rather broad appeal. You're introduced to a situation, a group, a family, a workspace, a small town, and week after week you see them overcome challenges. It's not very deep, it's not very heavy. You're simply allowed to experience a little slice of life, be welcomed into this intimate setting, enjoy a few laughs before turning it off and moving on to something else. One thing I think people don't understand about me is that I do appreciate comedy and humor. I think one of the myths that has developed during my death is that I was rather joyless and somber and eschewed anything frivolous. But the truth is, I can have a good laugh. I can enjoy a bit of ribaldry. I indeed wrote an entire satirical piece of Sweet Ermengarde, and frankly, I think that is rife with potential for some form of sitcom adaptation. I think people would thrill to the weekly adventures of Ermengarde and Squire Hardman. There's much potential to be found there, and it's not the only one of my stories. So I think, particularly for those of you who like stories such as the Parks and Recreation or The Office, you might like what could be done with Shadow over Innsmouth. You know, you get to see how all the different characters interact, come together, get into scrapes and hijinks. We could call it something like All in the Family. Or maybe not. We can work on the title. As always, I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Thank you.